What I'm gonna talk about today are what I'm gonna cover is LinkedIn live events or our LinkedIn live events, but also just the skill of live video in general, or the ability to show up and go live, and why that's important, and why I think it will become increasingly important in the future, especially if you are an entrepreneur, a coach, or a consultant. And this is because when I sit back and I see the landscape of social media, of how people are starting to dive into personal branding more and all of those things, what's happening is, and I don't know if you're experiencing this, but I see a lot of other people experiencing it. What's happening is that a lot of people are understanding the power of building a personal brand. And so they're going into building their personal brand and making it a priority. Now, are they doing it correctly? That's a different question. But when that happens, a lot of your competitors will start to create content. Now, some of them will do it well, some of them will not do it well. And the form of content that they usually start with is written content or images, and then that will move to short video. And when you compare the number of people who, especially entrepreneurs, who understand the power of personal brand today and who are starting to leverage the power of short form video to generate inbound interest for their businesses, the number is much higher compared to, let's say, 4 years ago. And naturally, with more practice and with more time, people are getting better and better. And so if you posted a short video 4 years ago, it would have probably been easier for you to stand out compared to today. You would have had to put a lot less effort, and there would have probably been a lot less competitors posting short video, you know, 4 years ago in your niche compared to today. And so when we notice that, one of the things that naturally becomes a question is, well, what can I do to stand out? What can I do to differentiate myself? What can I do to increase the chances of success, of getting seen by the right people, whether that's on LinkedIn or another social media platform that really, for the beginning of this conversation, doesn't matter as much as for when we start talking about LinkedIn live video in particular. And so when I look at what skill can an entrepreneur who is also committed to building their personal brand develop, that will more than likely increase the chances of them succeeding and get them seen by more of the right people. What could be a blue ocean strategy? The answer to that is to start to develop the skill of live video. That is, again, because a lot of your competitors are starting to post videos, short videos, more content, but a lot of them are not willing to go live. And a lot of them are not willing to go live consistently. And if that's the case for you watching, you can comment below and really think about it. You can ask yourself, how many of your competitors do you see post content? Probably a lot. How many of your competitors are starting to master short form? Probably a lot. But how many of your competitors have truly already mastered the art of live video? Probably not many. And so when I look at the skills that will definitely increase in value over the coming years, especially as AI continues to develop, live video is one of those skills. So I just, you know, from one entrepreneur to another, you, especially if you're all into building your personal brand, you should probably start practicing live video. Now, when I look at, well, how can live video serve us? How can live video provide value to a business owner as a skill? The easy answer is, well, there's no medium that even compares when it comes to engagement, providing a sense of authenticity so that the viewer knows exactly what you're like, providing a sense of transparency, and potentially getting clients. And, that is an obvious answer. But a byproduct of live video is also applicable to other things. So I have a lot of clients who start going live on video on LinkedIn. And one of the benefits of that is that partners or potential like joint venture people in their space will see them, will deem them as an expert because they already have had a chance to see how they present live, how they go over certain material, whatever. And then those type of partnerships will start to develop. Not only that, people from podcast hosts, event hosts, all of those things will start to ask you to speak, to become a guest on their podcast, to speak at their event, to speak at their virtual conference. Why? Because it's a lot less risky for them to ask someone whose speaking style has already been proven on a live video than one who has not, right? There's like less risk, less all of those things. And I'm about to be cut by the sun. I'm gonna move this way. So, but that's cool too. I mean, I love the sun. One of my favorite things is to watch the sunset in the evening and the sunrise. But let's not digress too much. So I hope that that kind of provides some context. Now, when I look at what has made the most impact business wise for me, as I've grown my almost 1 million followers on LinkedIn, and what also provides the ability for me to scale personal brand, not just on LinkedIn, but beyond LinkedIn, and what skill has made me the most money in my business, bar none, it is live video. 100%, 1000%, I would say that. And that also brings me to this next kind of chapter and what I'm trying to say, which is, yes, it's important to go live on LinkedIn on video, and we'll get to that. But the market and what people expect is changing with AI. So yes, it's a way to differentiate yourself from the competitors. Yes, you can get clients by going live on video on LinkedIn. Again, we'll get into that. But I think that if you are a coach or consultant, at some point or another, you're probably going to want to do challenges. You're probably going to want to do webinars. You're probably going to want to host a group virtual conference. And what do all of those things require? Those things require live video skills. At some point, you may even want to launch a group program that also requires a certain sense of live video skills. And I think that, as just putting it out there as kind of a sort of prediction, I think that as AI continues to evolve, a lot of courses will naturally become redundant in a shorter amount of time. So if I create a course about LinkedIn newsletters today, because of the speed of technology, it could be redundant in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month. And so a lot of course products will almost require some type of live video aspect, either to update the course, to do a Q&A with the community, so on and so forth. So my point is that if you're going to be building your personal brand and building an online business, it's going to be hard for you to escape the requirement of mastering live video. The advantage that you could have by starting now is that you start probably 3 to 5 years before everyone else does, and you differentiate yourself. And I'd kind of liken this to if you just started posting shorts or taking your personal brand seriously. Imagine if you would have started when Gary Vee was preaching this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You would be in a very different space. Your demand would far exceed your ability to, supply, probably. And that would naturally increase the prices, increase, where you are financially in your life, and just make business a lot more effortless. And so when we look into the future, that's why I think that, live video is important. Also, I think that live events, small live events, will become a thing that a lot of creators will just naturally do. And whether people get what they expect from you, the gap could be filled with live video. Also, you just naturally become better as a live presenter on stage or in conferences, so on and so forth, if you master the skill of live video. So I'm I'm done with my spiel of why live video is a very valuable skill, why you should start paying attention to it. Now, when we apply this knowledge or this logic to LinkedIn, it becomes even more important. Because remember that only 1% of people even create content on LinkedIn out of almost a billion users on the platform. It's still a platform very different than Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, where my grandma posts on all of those platforms. A lot of the users actually post on those platforms. On LinkedIn, a lot of the users will consume the content, they will not create the content. So just by creating an okay post weekly, you are top 1 to 3% on LinkedIn. If you were to become the industry expert in your niche, all that would really require is consistent posting and probably 2 to 4 live events, live video events a month. And these events don't have to be an hour. They could be 15 to 20 minutes and, you know, that's that. So the entry point of you becoming like the 0.0001% of experts on LinkedIn is really not that difficult. And so when I hear people say things like, but I don't have 20 minutes, it's like, well, then you're saying that becoming 0.0001%, top 0.0001% in your niche on the most professional platform on earth is not a priority for you. And I just don't work with clients like that. Like, to work with me one-on-one, you have to be willing to go live on video. You have to be willing to do video, period. So yes, Kizzy, 1%. And go follow Kizzy. So Kizzy has 100,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. She does, government contracting and all of those things. So if you're someone that's like, I kind of just want to stay in the shadows and do like a business where it's more just me doing some administrative stuff and getting contracts, then you could do government contracting. And she talks about all of that on her channel. I don't know anything about it. I can't explain it to you. We'll have you on, Kizzy, on a live so you could answer some questions. So let's kind of look at the potential of hosting live events on LinkedIn. Again, your competition is probably not doing it. If they even do one a month, I'd be surprised. If they do it well, I'd be even more surprised, because some people are doing it, but they're just not doing it well. So that's the automatic differentiator. Okay. The other thing is that not only is it an automatic differentiator, you gain value from it even before you do the live video event. And I'm going to share my screen and kind of explain here. It's better with a visual. Okay. And put your LinkedIn URLs in the comments so that you can connect with people. All right, so you can see this, right? So this is a live event that we posted earlier today, and it is for Monday. So what's going to happen between now and Monday? Number one, it has a clean thumbnail. That's great. Number two, these 19 or 20 people now, LinkedIn marketing for founders, what are they telling me? They're telling me quite a few things that a lot of people just will not necessarily see the value in before, because people just are short-sighted. So number one, they're telling me that they're active on LinkedIn because this has only been up for a couple of hours. So all of these people are very responsive, very active. Number two, what are they interested in? The fact that they clicked attend, right? They had to click attend, by the way, to be on this list. There's 19, 20 people so far. So these people are telling me, oh, yes, I'm interested in LinkedIn marketing. And whether that is my title on LinkedIn or not, I consider myself a founder, because trust me, there are a ton of executives on LinkedIn who reach out and say, hey, I've started my business on the side, or hey, I'm going all in my business in a few months. Like, what can I do to start preparing so that we can work together? Because you need to be all in your business before working with me. So the thing is, just because they don't have founder in their title doesn't mean that they don't see themselves as a founder. That's number one. Now, what could happen? I have a list of 20 people that I know are interested in LinkedIn marketing and that are founders. If I had an asset that I could give them before the live event, where let's say they would have to put in their email on a landing page, I could probably get 5 emails, 6 emails in the next, 10 minutes. And the thing is that the asset would have to be directly related to what it is that I'm about to teach. Because if I send them, hey, I saw you signed up for the event. I appreciate you. And they reply back and they say, oh yeah, thanks, or what event? And then I remind them that they actually did sign up for an event. And they're like, oh, cool. Like, what are you going to teach about? And I say, well, here's like a preview of the agenda. Do you want it? And they say, yeah, sure. And then I send them a link, or I say, cool, where do you want me to email it to? I could get 5 to 6 emails. And then from there, I could start building a list. So just before the live event happens, I'm able to gain value from this list, because why would people sign up if they weren't interested in this particular topic? So one of the things that you have to make sure when you're doing your live events on LinkedIn is that it's specific to who it is that you serve, if client acquisition is on your radar. If you just want to spread the word and get yourself out there and get seen, like if I wanted to choose a more popular topic, I could be like 10 tools, 10 AI tools I use in business. I don't sell AI consulting or whatever, but that could just get me seen by a lot of other business owners that then a percentage of them would be interested in LinkedIn. But if you're looking for, faster client acquisition, try to be a little bit more targeted. All right. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat. All right. So that's number one. So you gain value before the live event even starts. Number two is that, you can invite up to 1,000 people every single week to your LinkedIn live event. So if you have more than 4,000 connections, if you just did one a month, that's 4,000 people that you can invite to your live event. Let's just say that 10% said they're coming. That's 400 people registered. That's a huge list. Okay. And you should be able to get at least 100 emails from that list before it even starts. And then let's say that only 25% of those people show up live. That's 100 people live on your LinkedIn live event, where 4 out of every 5 people are decision makers, and the average person makes double the income of those compared to Facebook and Instagram. So they have more resources to actually buy what you sell, especially if what you sell is high ticket. And I'm done. I was on a roll there. I was on a roll. The sun was like, no, you're heating up too much. Let me simmer you down. So the thing is that when I think about how do you increase the chances of you becoming successful in business, and how do you do it within the shortest amount of time? Leverage a blue ocean strategy. Your competitors are not doing it. You should be doing it on LinkedIn, especially if you have 4,000 plus connections. Provide the most value. So just show up live and crush it and lead them to your call to action. That's the other thing. If 100 people show up to your live event, if you cannot get at least 5 to 10 high quality consultations, then the problem is the delivery and the content. All right. And this is something, because the numbers are there, the quality of people are there. So if you do a live event, you see there's 100 people live, and you're not getting high quality consultations that lead to a close pretty easily, then there's a little bit of issue in the content delivery. But we won't get into all that, today at least. And this isn't just on LinkedIn, but we'll talk about LinkedIn first, because naturally, because we're growing on YouTube, a lot of people are asking now, well, Shanae, like, how do I then go to YouTube? And I'll just say this, YouTube is a completely different world. Okay. YouTube, I know that there are some people that do, but I personally would have not been able to commit to YouTube, to approach YouTube the way that we have, especially for the last, 6 months, just consistently doing all the long form videos and understanding how to get better and better, had I not first done a couple years of short form and hundreds of live events on LinkedIn. Because it's more similar to me, like it's more similar to a webinar or a live event or something where more preparation is required than a short form video. And so it's like a lot of our clients, especially from the previous cohort, and if you're interested in growing on LinkedIn, all you have to do is email us. A new client actually came from YouTube today. Congratulations. We start on Friday working together. And all he did was email me with the funniest subject line that I won't mention, but it was kind of like just help. LOL. Need help growing on LinkedIn. So with something else in the beginning, but it's kind of funny. Some of our clients from our previous cohort, they actually, once they did their 12 live events, which I tried to have them do it weekly to really master it, they started to repurpose those live events into long form videos on YouTube, and then would have the asset to then turn into shorts, so on and so forth. And it doesn't take a lot. We had, as a test, we had two people try it for 5 days, and one person got like 11,000 views on her shorts from her live video events. The other person got like 7 or 8,000. One person is 76. The other person is 55. So I don't want to hear that age is an excuse, or that only 20-year-olds are on YouTube or whatever. So just know that like it builds up, and it's hard to be a master chef when you've never been in the kitchen. And it's easier to master a skill when you can literally dominate a niche with very little input. Like when you look at LinkedIn, remember everyone, only 1% of people even create content. That doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean it's valuable. That doesn't mean they do it consistently. So that said, like there are very few influencers in very specific niches, and we have helped people dominate niches that are unsexy to sexy, right? Food safety expert, okay? Like Excel expert, right? Like then there's maybe more on like, John Maxwell team training. And all the coaching is a little bit more, I would say, sexy. Public speaking expert, like, TEDx talk, speaking at work expert, where, the communication skills where they actually use at work for introverts. And it's just, when you look at Instagram, there's probably 1,000 influencers that are in your niche that have more followers than you, that have a bigger following, more loyal following, and they've kind of associated their expertise with that niche. On LinkedIn, there's no lawyer influencer yet on LinkedIn. I could name of like two that create content, but have they absolutely dominated the law niche on LinkedIn? No. I can't think of a fitness influencer. I can't think of a chef. I can't think of an Etsy person. I can't think of a tutor. I can't think of a nanny. So there's probably a million niches that are not even like, they're just yours for the taking. All you have to do is show up, and you could really just differentiate and scale your personal brand on LinkedIn if you start to master the live video events. See you, Kizzy. And if you have any questions about the live video events on LinkedIn, just put it in the chat. I'm happy to answer you. And then Shanae is going to make her salad and eat outside and watch the sunset. Any questions? Yeah, all you have to do is show up and get better and better and better. And that's the thing, like when people see me do a live event on LinkedIn, or when they see me do the challenge. And by the way, we are having a LinkedIn challenge next week. You can go to Yougrow.club to register, specifically if you want to start understanding the power of LinkedIn live events on the platform. Again, just go to Yougrow.club to register. But when people see me, they're like, oh, how do you do the challenge, the lives on LinkedIn, lives on YouTube? This is almost 2 years in the making. This is 200 to 300 reps in. And you have to consciously and intentionally know that you are going into a season where a certain level of your energy is going to be required, and that you're going to have to put more energy into getting that skill ramped up and off the ground. I did this with LinkedIn Lives. I did it with webinars. And so when most people would approach a webinar, they would do once a month, then they would iterate, wait forever. I didn't have time for that. When I wanted to master webinars and really learn the skill of hosting webinars, I did 2 a week for 18 months in a row, which is, if you even know what is required to host one webinar a month, 2 a week for 18 months is insanity. But I did it because I could only change one thing at a time, iterate. Same thing with live video events on LinkedIn. When most people were just doing one a month, I started doing almost every day for 18 months. And now I'll do it weekly. Now I'm wanting to master live video on YouTube. And you'll see me put in the reps and start to learn. And that's the thing, is that if you just have a certain childlike curiosity, love of learning, just wanting to get better, versus caging yourself in certain expectations, you're sometimes surprised that the results that you get far exceed the expectations that you originally had. And when I look back on, my journey so far in entrepreneurship, I didn't have like these big aspirations. I just wanted to replace my very little full-time income at the time, which is just so little. Okay, I was making like, just, I can't, what I was making in a month is just, it's incomparable to today. And I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I want this big aspirational thing, right? I just wanted that first win. And then it just kept building, kept building, kept building. Entree is our moderator. And she's going to do the mindfulness on Fridays, on Friday morning lives. But what other questions? So just, I know this started with, the importance of live video as a skill, and intentionally really thinking about making space for mastering the skill in the up and coming years as an entrepreneur who's all in and building the personal brand. I know we started there. We went to touched a little bit on the benefits of LinkedIn live events. I'll do a full training on that sometime this week. And we kind of went from there to where we are now. But if you have a question about live events, just put it in the chat. And do you go live? Put yes or no in the chat, because I see a few of you here. Do you go live? And why or why not? Oh, I can wait. See, I've done this too much to like feel awkward. Like, oh, no one's putting a yes or no in the chat. I'll just embrace this awkward silence. And the sun beating on my face. Yes or no? Do you go live anywhere? I know Kizzy goes live sometimes. Do you go live duressness or no? And what other topics do you want to learn about? What other topics do y'all want to learn about? Because me and my team are creating the calendar. Okay, yeah. So you should try it on LinkedIn. I don't know what you do, what you sell, you know, but the only people who have a certain restriction with going live on LinkedIn, and I've seen where they have to get it pre-approved. We actually have a client now, is usually, well, one hand, which we don't serve, are people who sometimes are employed. It depends on their employer, but we only serve entrepreneurs. On the entrepreneurial side, the only people who sometimes have restrictions with going live are in financial services. And there will be some firms that are just like, no, you can't go live at all. And there will be others that will need to kind of see the outline of what you're going to be talking about, pre-approve it, and then they're able to go live. We have a financial services expert currently as a client. She's actually able to do it, which is pretty good. I know the sun is like, the sun is calling. Oh, the sun wanted y'all to see. I'm about to go outside. And that's the thing, I'll end with this is you feel fulfilled as a business owner. At least I could speak for myself. The days where I feel most fulfilled are the days where I keep my promise or my word to myself. The days where I seized every opportunity to increase the chances of success, not just for our current clients, but reaching new clients and for the success of the business, the vision overall, especially now that I have a team. It's not just when you build a team, it's not just you anymore. There's more people that, rely on the vision, rely on you showing up, and you inspire people to show up. Even if you don't have a team, you'd be surprised at who you inspire to start showing up differently in their life just by the way that you start showing up. I can't tell you how many people since starting to go live on LinkedIn have just reached out or have, even current clients asked about it, previous clients activated again just because they're inspired. I'm building a niche newsletter in AI in my language. It's quite a niche thing, so I'm happy about it. What I want your help with is the newsletter. Yeah, so that's actually, I'll do a live on that. I've been asked that. Um, Going from free to paid, yeah, I'll do that. And is your paid one like a membership or is it just like a Substack? When you're going, I won't get into it too much, but when you're going from, okay, like a free newsletter, transitioning people to the paid, it's really the first question is, what are the paid people going to get that the free subscribers do not get? And what are you willing to provide them? I know some people that are willing to provide them with a live. I know some people that are willing to provide them with just like maybe access to interviews, longer, more detailed information, more editions. So if you ask yourself, like, yeah, I'm not going to do the live, I'm not going to do the community, then it has to be even like more, you better be very clear on what they get if they pay for pay, because it's easy to put a live aspect to it. The value kind of speaks to itself, especially if they want to get questions answered by you. But yeah, I'll go into. A good thing also is to find a model. So if you find someone who goes really, really hard on their free newsletter and has kind of mastered the transition into a paid, and whose model also matches what you're willing to do and not to do, then they've done half the work for you already. and the sun is it's not gone, it's just hiding behind the but you one of the things you should do on LinkedIn, and I don't know if you have already, but you should launch your LinkedIn newsletter and you should start talking about very similar topics that you would in your paid newsletter. Your free newsletter should be so good that I want to pay for the paid one. If your free newsletter does not like if I'm just reading it, this is like Chat GBT wrote this and there's nothing helpful, then you know, why would I click on the paid? Okay, so you have 300 subscribers. That's good. So it's really about answering the first question and making the paid offer very clear on what they're going to get. But yes, I will do a live specifically on that. And congratulations. Congratulations on launching your newsletter. Yeah, so I'll give you one thing that you could do kind of tied to what we are talking about today. Because and I'm only saying this because you mentioned that you have 4,000 LinkedIn connections. And so if you have 4,000 LinkedIn connections, I would host a live event. I would invite all of your newsletter subscribers to the live events, and I would have some type of offer for only people that are live to, potentially join, or just mention it a few times and mention what they get during the LinkedIn live, because like for $8 a month, you know, it's not going to be a money issue. It's just going to be, do I want this and do I think it's valuable? And if you don't get at least like a few paid subscribers from that, especially if you invite all your 4,000 connections, get around, I don't know what you're posting, right? But let's just say like at minimum you get 50 to 100 people there live, you should get at that rate, quite a few subscribers. You're welcome. If you have a question about LinkedIn Live video, then put it in the comments. We are hosting also Dressness, where I hope I'm saying that name right, because I know people say my name wrong all the time. They're like Shani, Shani, Shani. It's Shanae. So I know what it's like when people mess up your name. I don't like to mess up other people's names. But if you want to learn about live video events, then go to the Yougrow.club and sign up. We're having a 4-day challenge next week, all about live video on LinkedIn. And I'll put the place to register in the chat. Or can I do that? Hold on. I'm not too familiar with this. I don't know. I think we have to be in the YouTube live to pin it. We'll figure that out. Just go to Yougrow.club. One more question before I hop. Got to work out, make a salad, read a little bit, pray a little bit. And one of the greatest blessings, and I saw this tweet or X post. What am I? Whatever. I still call it Twitter. I have to figure out how I'm gonna call it. But I saw this X post the other day, and it was like, "What's your secret to waking up early?" And it was just very simple. When you're a little kid and you're excited about, you're going to go to Disney World or wherever, or go see grandma or whatever. You're excited. School's gonna start the next day. You're excited about what's gonna happen the following morning. And you're so excited that you probably will get up early very naturally. And I think that one of the greatest travesties is that a lot of people just lose that excitement in their life. Yeah, go ahead. Final question, Dressness. Just type it in the comments. And whoever else has a question, just put it in the comments. I'm going to be going live 6 times a week on this channel. So the only day that, force rest is Saturday. And I laugh because if you know me, I have 800 newsletter subs, got them by paid ads, have open rate of 40 to 50%, and a click-through rate of 20%. That's good. But I'm not sure how I can turn people to see value in paid content rather than comparing it to anything else. So are these newsletter subs free subs, right? They're on a free newsletter somewhere, and you want them to pay for something for the $8, is that correct? And don't be sorry. I'm used to off-topic questions. Listen, we had a LinkedIn newsletter challenge, and most of the questions were about LinkedIn Live. And I was like, wait a second. Okay, so I just launched paid this week, yes, for new gated paywall content. So did anyone go for it? And that's okay if they didn't. It's just good to know. Shankar's laughing because I was just like, make human nature make sense. Shankar's my business partner. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel, follow him on LinkedIn. Okay, so one. So this is more of a frame of mind thing that number one, I know sometimes you could look at some launches and see oh, I got 10,000 people signed up. But usually what that person doesn't tell you is one of two things. They either learned what not to do from 10 previous launches, right? Or they've hired a very high paying, highly paid consultant that has already mastered the launch process and is really the one running the show behind the scene of their launch. So that's what people won't tell you when you see these massive launch numbers on social media. Now, the thing is, it's not horrible. You got one, right? And so what I would do if I were you is celebrate that. That's cool. How do you get 10? Now that would be my second milestone is, okay, I got one. How do I get 10? The other thing that I would do is reach out to the person that paid and say, hey, you're actually the first person that paid for the subscription. And I wanted to just talk to you, congratulate you, just say hello. I'm not going to do this as we scale, but because you're the first person, I'd love to chat and see what their number is. And then during that conversation, just kind of hear it in their words of why they subscribed, right? And so if they're like, oh yeah, I subscribed because of X, and you're marketing the why of it, because I hear that, you said that there's 2 pieces of content, whatever, what type of content, or if they're like, oh yeah, you said you were going to send this list next month. You just want to hear why they subscribed. And then for your next kind of marketing newsletter to get more members, I'd focus on that. But internally, if I were you, I would just focus on, okay, celebrate the one. It wasn't a complete failure. Let's find out why that one person subscribed. I'd look at other people who clicked on the offer and resend them another email with different reasons why they should, and just be real blunt. Listen, you can afford the $8. And I know you don't want this to just become another subscription that you never use. Here's why the $8 will be worth it, and why you should try it. And I would just kind of touch base with them. Let's say 10 other people, 20 other people opened it, you should at least get two. And I would also ask them what they want. Just be like, hey, you clicked on the offer, but you didn't buy. What else could I provide that would make the $8 worth it? They may say, hey, man, I don't want more content. I just want a synopsis of like tools that are worth using because I hear about 100 million of them every month. And so in the beginning, like, you don't have to be fancy with this stuff. A lot of the uh a lot of these launches that you see that have all the fancy strategies, they really came from boots on the ground touch points like this where you figure it out. And then for your next launch, you're prepared. That's when you'll get the 800 at once. It's not even what they're charging, right? It's when it comes to like low subscription, it's what they get. Um and it's really about like when I'm signing up for something low like that, even if I see the value, it really comes down to, am I going to actually use this thing? Because it may just become another subscription that I never even look at, that I forget about, whatever. And so that's why, like, the first thing I do is reach out to the person that bought. Just a quick recap. See why they bought and try to leverage how they present the value in their own words in your marketing without changing the words, right? So that's number one. Number two, see who clicked that didn't buy and just reach out to them and just really like boldly address all of the obstacles that you think they have. Like, yeah, you're not going to use it. It's just going to be another subscription, whatever. And at least half of them should move forward. And then the third thing is you could host a LinkedIn live event, right? You can invite them to your live event and you could have them, join the membership on the live. And I'll do a whole training on lives, formally. I'll do a few this week, and then the challenge is next week. And so we have a lot of that. I do have to go now. I hope that this was helpful. And if what you find that I'm sharing is helpful, just share it with one friend. I would really appreciate it. We'll grow this live community together. God bless you. And I'll make sure the sun isn't in my face the whole time next time. All right, ciao. Bye.